live on YouTube.
That's kind of nice to make you sign off on each of those.
We're well informed. That's what I'm gonna make. I'm gonna make the assumption that everybody's ready to go.
I think you should.
All right. Huh?
We're good.
Let's get moving. All right. We will go ahead and call to order this city council business meeting for Thursday, September 2nd, 2021. It is 6 p.m. Lindsay, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Lester.
Here.
Baker.
Here.
Reba.
Here.
Cool.
Here.
Livingston. Here. Mayor Tom Phillips.
I am here as well. We have quorum, so we will move on. For those on the Zoom meeting, if you want to speak to an agenda item, go ahead and unmute your microphone and speak up during public comment. You can also let us know you have some input by raising your Zoom hand or by flagging us in the chat box. We would just ask that you we'll recognize you during public comment. Also, don't forget to mute your microphone after you've made your comments. There's a time delay on the YouTube meeting, so we will not respond to questions that may be texted to people in council chambers because of that time delay. If you'd like to ask questions during the meeting, please either attend in person or attend via the Zoom meeting. Item number 2 on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. So would you please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance with me?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Item 3 is approval of the agenda. Would anybody like to move any of the consent agenda items to the regular agenda? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, motion by Livingston, second by Cool. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same. Motion carries. Item 4 is welcome of guests and public comment. Thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate the public being involved with our meetings. At this point in time, we'll open up the dais for any public comment. This would be for non-agenda items. We'll give you a 3-minute time limit. Realize we can't take action on these tonight since they aren't on the agenda. Also, if you'd like to comment on any item in the consent agenda, now would be the time. So anybody like to address council? Yeah, come on up. And once you get up here, please state your name and your address.
My name is Dale Bielenberg. My address is 8833 Sunset Drive. And I realize this is just a 3-minute thing here, but I wanted to introduce myself. I sent each of you on the console an email on Tuesday. I have a single concern, your fireworks ordinance. I was here 2 weeks ago when, the third weekend last month. Never been here before. Let's see what kind of went on, how you guys operated. You were discussing the food bed, ordinance type thing. And geez, these people are concerned about people. They want to make sure, everybody, is treated fairly, private property, all this kind of stuff. So I looked through a bunch of the other ordinances. There's a lot of course, I wanted the fireworks one. And I looked at a couple others. And I said, these people are paying a lot of attention to people's private property. This is the most important. Until the fireworks ordinance. Yeah. This is incredible. Anyway, July 3rd, my property was attacked by a neighbor. I am not being over dramatic or anything like that. I can be, but I'm trying to. This is just my 3-minute thing. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Hopefully I'll be able to explain further then. And we can have some back and forth. Right? So I talked to Ed Cool because I'd met him before. He said, the only way you're going to get anything changed is if you come and you eyeball the members of the thing. Otherwise, nothing is going to get done. If you send a nasty or a terse message to them, it means nothing. So I said, what does Ed know? So I talked to Chief Staples. Chief Staples basically told me the same thing. If you want something done, so my email was simply to give some advance notice. I don't want to bring this here in 2 weeks and drop all this stuff on you, even though I kept it very brief because that's my forte, is being brief. I don't know what to say. I'm not a good spokesperson for eliminating fireworks here in town. And I say that for 2 reasons, because I don't want to be here tonight. I don't want to be here 2 weeks from now, because I am concerned as a citizen and a resident of your town. I've lived here since 2008, spring of 2008, that I am going to be a target for harassment. My property could be vandalized because now there is a face to somebody that wants to take away somebody's fun. They want to blow something up. And now they can say, that guy wants to take away my enjoyment. So I'm concerned. But these 2 people told me that if I didn't, also I'm not going to get anything changed. The other reason I'm not a good spokesperson for this, I'm not a sympathetic victim. When you look at me, you don't see a sympathetic person. I have trouble seeing myself as a sympathetic person. Nobody else stepped up. I want to find the person that convinced you to ban open burning. That's the one I want to come here. Because you stepped up right then and you said, we can't be allowing people to burn willy-nilly, the smoke going into their neighbor's property, the smell possibly filling their, and maybe even causing a fire.
Can you wrap it up?
Yes, I can. See you in a couple weeks.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, anybody else?
Amen.
Okay.
All right.
Seeing none. Thanks for coming. Item 5 is our consent agenda. We have approval of the August 19th, 2021 minutes of the regular city council meeting. Have expenditures, tax abatements. We have resolution setting the date for public hearing on a proposal to enter into a general obligation urban renewal loan agreement and to borrow money thereunder in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed 9.5 million. And we have a resolution to approve pay estimate number 7 to Howery Construction for construction of the Great Western Trail Connection Phase 1 project. Can I get a motion?
Motion. Second.
All right, motion by Baker, second by Livingston. Lindsay, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Livingston,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Reba.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, that motion carries. Item 6 is old and new business for consideration, discussion, and possible action. Item A is a public hearing on designation of expanded Norwalk urban renewal area and on proposed urban renewal plan amendment. So we'll open up a public hearing at 6:08 PM. Holly, could you present this a bit to the council?
You want me to? Yeah.
Or
I'd be happy
Jean?
to.
Okay, thank you.
But this is for the athletic field house project. Anytime the city defines a project as economic development, which we are defining this project as, and we're intending to use general obligation urban renewal bonds, we have to have a public hearing and then amend our current urban renewal plan, which we will do. We'll set up a different area with the field house. And then we had to have a consultation session, which we did hold on the 18th of August for other government entities that would be affected utilizing TIF. No one attended. They were, I think we maybe got a phone call from Kate for some information, but she couldn't attend the meeting. But we did conduct that. So those are the 3 things we have to do. And this will comply with those rules.
All right, thank you. Lindsay, have we received any oral or written comments on this?
We have not.
All right, any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and close public hearing at 6:09 PM. So item 6B is a resolution approving the urban renewal plan amendment for the Norwalk urban renewal area. So we just had a public hearing on this amendment to the urban renewal plan. Gene or Holly, anything you'd like to add? Okay, any discussion or comments from council? For any public comment?
Motion.
Second.
All right, motion by Livingston, second by Cool. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Lindsay, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Lester.
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Reba,
Yes.
Cool,
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 6C is a special event application for use of display fireworks for Britt Baker, 7988 Adams Street for September 8th, 2021. So there's going to be a birthday party out at Mr. Baker's residence. He'd like to have some fireworks, and this was originally on the consent agenda. Jackie wanted it placed on the regular agenda for discussion. What would you like to discuss?
Well, I had no problem with anything else on the consent agenda. I have a problem with this, so I thought it was appropriate to have it removed from the
Yeah.
consent agenda. It is a matter of great debate and frequent complaints to have fireworks the 2 times out of the year that we allow it. I am not in favor of allowing, although a rural homeowner, to have fireworks in celebration of a birthday. So that's my position.
So my 2 cents on this would be is I'm okay with it. I think it's fine because it's being shot by a company, not by the individuals. And we're not giving permission for individuals to shoot it. We're giving permission for the company to shoot it. But my concern was the timing of it. So it says the event runs till what, 11? Sorry, I'm trying to remember now. 11
from 6 to 11.
And I guess mine is, I would hope that the fireworks are off by 9:15, 9:30. I mean, it's gonna be plenty dark by then. I don't want the fireworks at 11. That's my concern with it. Just a few cents on that. If there's a way to cap the fireworks time that they have to have them off before 10 o'clock, before 9:30. It's plenty dark by 9 o'clock on that day, so. Is there a way to do that?
We probably just changed the
Yeah,
permitted
sure you
time.
can.
And,
You can approve whatever you want for the application.
and is there, if it's going to be approved, I think there needs to be a notification to any of his neighbors with livestock in particular. There are plenty of horse farms around there. And I hear cattle, I hear all the time, the danger that it puts people in when they don't know what's going on. So I'm still not in favor of it, but I would ask that be a requirement. He does, but it's his farm, so I'm assuming that he's gonna take the appropriate measures to take care of that. But the people 2 doors down with horses, or across the road with horses, or across the street with cattle may not have any idea.
I'm with Jackie, actually, when I saw this on the consent agenda, if it hadn't been pulled off, I was thinking about asking for it to be pulled off, only because this is one of those slippery slope things. We approve these one-off, then when's the next one coming in, and the next one after that, and everybody wants a special exception, and how are we gonna decide who gets it and who doesn't? It's just easier with fireworks being such a contentious issue that we just stick to what we've got and don't do the one-offs. Now, maybe if we were having like the large event at the high school stadium, some big sports event, maybe kind of like the Iowa Cubs, but for individual homeowners, I really don't want to go down this path.
May I say something?
Yeah.
Our code is a little not specific. So I think maybe we should just consider changing the code at some point. And I think Jen might have some things to add to that.
Yeah, so when I was with you guys, when I saw this on the agenda too, I did some research on our ordinances. I called the fire marshal in Des Moines to see like how they would handle situations like this as well. So our ordinance does recognize that you can apply for the permit for the display, and the last section says organization or groups. Well, a group can be 3 people. So I agree with Stephanie, like, where do we put a cap on this and not allow anybody to do it? Now, the city of Des Moines, they do allow for a special use permit for fireworks. They do have to pull a permit. The permit is $250. They do have to pay the fire marshal's office to send out an investigator. So that's a pass-through cost to them. That's a time and a half or double time. And then since they do pull that permit, then the fire department will provide some fire support if they think it's necessary in that area. But of course, they're getting some financial compensation because of the permit fees and inspection fees.
And I don't have any idea right now what our drought can do. I mean, I know we just got rain. I don't have any idea what our drought conditions are. This is a home that has been rebuilt recently because of an internal fire that put the house down in less than 5 minutes. These are just all concerns that I have about. Now, I assume when he rebuilt the house that he has sprinklers and all that. I don't have any idea. But these are all concerns that I have. It's not to me, I appreciate the fact that there's a professional company. To me, the first concern is the noise and the constant complaints that we have from a lot of people in the community who think that we should not allow fireworks at all. But beyond that, it's all of these other things that cause me a great deal of concern.
Well, it's a rural area. They've got a
Doesn't make me feel better.
professional company that's going to set them off. There is a pathway to do this in our ordinance. And if we need to notify the neighbors, or they need to notify the neighbors, that's probably fine. Probably a good idea anyway. But I really don't see any reason to deny that person the opportunity to set off their fireworks in celebration. You've got a system in the ordinance that allows us to be able to do that.
Okay, so I've heard we need to have Mr. Baker notify neighbors.
We need a cap, we need a time limit, because I don't want them going off at 10:45 at night either.
Yeah, we could set the permit to stop it. I don't know, but
Can we
people
say-
agree to 10
Can
or
we say launch
something.
before 10?
10. Seems fair.
Finish launching before 10.
Before 10.
Okay, before 10, you need to say finish launching by 10. Before 10 is 6 o'clock or 8:55. I mean, what is before 10? So I'm just saying it needs to be by 10, by 9:30, by 9:45. I don't know what time, but
Finish launching by 10.
okay. Thank you.
Okay. So can I get a motion to approve the application with those amendments?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Cool, second by Lester.
Now, notifications, clarifying, does that mean within eyeshot, does it mean within a mile, does it mean within 250 feet of zoning, does it mean? I don't think that's really, I think we need to have that clarified, because I'm not sure what that means.
You go within a
Neighbors?
mile, there's a lot of houses
Good.
within a mile. of
Yeah,
that.
exactly, so I don't think that should be, but I think we need, is it contiguous
How about
properties?
adjoining neighbors?
Okay,
How about that? How's that sound?
could be contiguous properties then.
We light fireworks at Mackinac Park, right? And the entire community expresses dissatisfaction with the fallout from that. When we did the,
The fallout from the Mackinac Parks one.
I hadn't heard
no,
that.
fair enough, not from that one. But I do hear from people with animals. When we did the event for Kosovo, we were at
For your runs.
Warrior Run and complaints came in from more than a mile. I don't know what the right answer is. I don't have any idea what gauge or explosive power or noise or any of that this place is displaying. I don't know any of that. So I don't know what the right answer is. I agree, there needs to be a distance. But I'm not, contiguous properties is insufficient in my opinion.
it's not uncommon for like our variance or special use request to say a certain distance from the property line. I think it's 200 or 250 feet.
See, if you went, if you went from his property, the CE now owns to the south. Beardsley, he owns to the south of Beardsley on that side of the road too. That's not Beardsley, it's a creek, but
If you extend Beardsley out, yeah.
and if you went contiguous to his property, it goes all the way down to Isley's on the back.
Probably pretty good size area.
But his adjoining neighbors is pretty significant as far as who.
I would suspect he's probably already notified him.
I'm not willing to come to that conclusion.
So I mean,
No,
we have
but
no
they
idea
may be
without
without
asking, but I don't think this is a big deal.
So adjoining neighbors? They're
Contiguous.
contiguous.
So under what
Which
ordinance?
is, which is joint contiguous. That's synonymous.
It's just a courtesy.
Under what, where in our code is the 250 feet? What does that pertain
Well,
to?
there's 250
zoning.
feet for like zoning
Zoning.
change, like whenever you have a zoning change, we have to notify anybody within 250 feet of the property.
This would actually give you greater distance than 250 feet, I think, under the circumstances.
And if joining would include across the road.
To the east.
The adjoining property is not considered, not taking into account public right of way.
So I have a motion on the table. Somebody want to amend the motion to make? Are you okay?
Yeah.
You okay?
Okay.
So
Need a second?
you okay with that? No, I got a second on that.
All right.
So all in favor, aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, all opposed, same.
No,
No,
Okay, so motion carries 3-2.
That's to amend the motion.
That's to amend the motion to make it contiguous or adjoining neighbors. Excluding.
And at 10 o'clock.
public right of way.
Yeah.
And the limit,
10 o'clock.
limit the finishing time was 10 o'clock. That was part of the motion, the original motion. Okay,
Got it.
so any further discussion?
And
Yeah.
just to let you know, as an example, from his two parcels, likely where detonation would happen, a buffer 250 feet includes 14 property owners that would have to be contacted.
Okay.
Just as an FYI, what that would look like.
Is the city supposed to contact?
no, he
Oh,
has
he
to.
has to.
I think the city, during short time distance, I mean, we can, I don't know how easy it is to get a list of property owners for him, say this is who we think. he needs to do it.
you came over to the assessor's site.
This is right there. List.
There you go.
Luke, can you snapshot that and send it to me, please? Sure.
Okay. Any further discussion?
You know, before we leave this topic, I've been mulling it around in my mind with the whole fireworks thing. Because I hear those complaints too. And something for the council to consider. I know we got a work session coming up on it. But it might be putting it on the ballot. Yes or no? And then maybe giving options of the length of time to fire. That's just something to think about.
Lindsay, would you call a roll?
Councilmember Baker,
Yes.
Reba,
No,
Cool,
Yes.
Livingston.
No.
Lester.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries.
You might want to make sure in the minutes of discussion is pointed out that there are professional lighting and fireworks, just thinking, should be inundated with other people thinking I should be able to do that also.
And insurance.
You know, we would be able to point out that that this person had professional company.
And insured.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
insured,
numerous
audited,
special events.
Thank you. Item 6D, It's the third reading of an ordinance amending section 9212 water shortage and chapter 177 rates and fees of the Norwalk Municipal Code. So this is the third reading for a tweak to our water shortage ordinance to put it more in line with what we believe we'll need to do in the future during water shortages. Any discussion, comments from council? Public comment? I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Cool, second by Livingston. Any further discussion? Lindsay, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Riva,
Yes.
Cool,
Yes.
Livingston, Lester,
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Item 6C, draft development agreement terms with sports campus developers. I'll let Holly take it from here.
Okay. So as you all know, we've been working really hard on this project for a long time now, but it's coming together very nicely. So the next step in the process to keep things on the rails are the two development agreements that we've been working on, one with the private sports campus developer themselves, and then one with the landowners for the greater area of Norwalk Central. So this one's first, it's a little simpler than the bigger infrastructure development agreement that will be coming next. But so far, between the staff and the planning group and the sports developers, we've come to terms on all of these draft incentives. So we sent that out to you guys earlier, and the basics of it, as you know, are we would do 20% for their upfront grant. Their economic development grant would be 20% of the value of the facility. So for example, if the value comes back at 4 million, then it would be an $800,000 grant. That would be paid at the time of certificate of occupancy. So they have to put the money up front themselves. They have to build the facility. It has to be fully inspected, open, and then they would get that portion of their incentive. And then they would have 10 years of 75% tip rebate. So of course, that's based on what their value of the property is, based on that will determine the property taxes, and that's how we determine the 75% of the city's portion of that overall tax. And then the third component of their incentive would be, I'm proposing this, that the city would purchase 6 acres on that map. When you kind of scroll down to your packet, that first map has a big purple square, and then there's like a blue, long kind of skinny square below that, or rectangle. And that is the section that I would propose the city, the purple section is what I would propose the city purchase, which is about 6 acres. So that would cover our facility, their facility, and then the shared parking area within that project space. And so then the lighter blue rectangle would be the 2 acres that I would propose we then turn around and grant or sell at a discounted rate, however we decide to do that, but grant that back to the developers. That would give them enough acres to build their portion of the facility, which is attached to ours, and then give them a little bit of room for maybe future development, expansion, or extra parking if they need it off to the east. So those are the 3 basic terms of incentives for this development agreement with them. And then in turn, they overall will be investing 10 to 12 million. So I know there's kind of a confusion with the $4 million number that's in there. That's just what we're proposing on the low end of what the building itself, their building, would come in at on a minimum assessment. And then the rest of the 10 to 12 million that they'll be investing will be for the 14 to 16 acres of turf pods, which is quite pricey for them to be building. And they're putting a bunch of really neat technology in it with some investors. And then obviously a lot of parking that they'll have to end up building in addition to what we would be kind of sharing with them on that north side. So their project will be pretty expensive, but we're all investing in this between the landowners, the city, the sports campus developers. Everybody's investing in this and sharing some costs with parking and land development. So that would be the basic terms of it. We have worked out an agreement, verbal, and we do have it in writing as well, the land price that the city would purchase and the sports developers would purchase from the landowners. And so we do have that price at $250 a square foot, and that's pad ready. So they would do all of the grading and then do mass grading for the entire site within Norwalk Central at one time. And then the landowners are also doing all of the infrastructure, which that development agreement again comes next. But we want to get this in front of you so that you can at least give feedback on how you feel about these terms. If there's anything major that jumps out that you're not comfortable with or doesn't make sense,
that we can work through those before we come back to you with a final draft, if that's a thing. We would go to bond council after this with this draft and let them start to put the legal documents together to then bring back for our actual approval. So with that, I guess I would just say, are there any questions or?
I have a question.
Yes.
So I was trying to wrap my head around this and I'm not sure I understand. So the purple square, we would buy that from the landowner. And then we would in turn sell to the developer, to the sports complex owner, the 2 acres.
Right. Or
Okay,
just
I
deed
was-
it as a
I was
grant.
not comprehending that, but
And they would purchase
makes
the
sense.
rest of that 22 acres or
Yeah.
23 acres.
okay. All right. Thanks.
Other questions for Howard?
The blue area, how many acres is that again?
2. Mhm. And that's my kind of crude sketch of it, but the 6 acres came from engineers. So whatever 2 acres makes up, that's what we would do.
So the part here that when the incentives expire, the rest of it goes to the landowners. Will that actually be in this draft agreement? That's a separate agreement, right? I mean, that those terms will be in there because really it has nothing to do with the sports.
Right.
Plus people.
Yes, it will be in the landowner's development agreement, but we're notating it in this just in case somewhere along the negotiation process to that final draft, they might come back and say, could we do 15 years instead of 10? Then we could say, well, right here at year 10, that ends because the next 10 years, if there's money left, would go to pay off the infrastructure.
I would just say thanks for continuing to work this issue. Getting it out in front of us so we can take a look at where we're at. Been a long road.
Thank you. Jim keeps saying he's shocked. It's coming together. I don't know how to feel about that.
I think it's a compliment.
Yeah.
I think I said shock. I said impressed.
It is a compliment.
What else, council? Have?
It just, okay, so we're expecting a $10 to $12 million development from the sportsplex. But then down below, this is where I get confused. On number 4, agreed to a minimum assessment of $4 million. So how does that 4 million connect to number 1, which is 10 to 12 million? Just
Well, the 10 to 12 million in there is typically in the development agreements, we will have an overall investment that the developer is putting into the project as a whole. But what we're basing their incentive on is just the physical facility. So that's what that minimum assessment of 4 million is just their structure, their 35,000 square feet or whatever structure. But by the time they're done with their entire project, they're spending over $10 million.
Parking
That's why
lots,
it's in there.
fields, things like that are added, are the difference between the 4 and the 10.
Yep. Yeah, it's fine.
okay. So, and we want a minimum assessment of $4 million because we have a maximum incentive of $4 million.
The minimum assessment, we have to come up with ourselves between us, the developer and the county assessor of what's realistic for that building, the facility. So that is where we're at right now. It may come in at 6 million. You know, we don't know just yet until she has the actual drawings in front of her, the assessor. But the 4 million is the number that we've come up with for the facility. So the max, where you see the max incentive, we always put in a max in there. And that would be like best case scenario if their facility came in at like an $8 million value. And, you know, with their 75% rebate plus their upfront grant, that we would stop, like we would not go, even if their project came back with a $20 million assessment, if they decided to go really big, we would not go over 4 million total for their incentive. So that's why we always put those maxes in there.
Okay. In the signed purchase agreement with the landowners. So developers obligations, I mean, sportsplex people aren't responsible for purchase agreement with the landowners. The city, that's between the city and Diligent, right?
Both. We have to have a signed at least letter of intent between the sports developer and the landowners if they're purchasing their whole property.
Oh, all the rest of it.
Right.
The 22.
Okay.
And it's all that, and it's kind of repetitive language, but we're putting it in the landowners development agreement as well, that we have to see their signed copies of everything, because they all hinge on each other. No one can do this project without somebody buying land for the next person, and the next person, so. there.
And so I know you and I talked about this, but it would be great if the draft agreement uses either the name of the developer
It will.
or just to be consistent, because we have
I
sports
know.
developers, private developers,
I know.
landowners, and other developers.
We're still being confidential, but that's kind of blown out of the water anyway, because we've been talking about this thing for so long. So yes, we will put the real names in the next one.
And then I'll try not to be confused.
And we'll have a name for our piece, we hope. at that point. Yes,
Norwalk City.
whatever we're doing. Yeah, that is my goal. What'd you say?
Didn't say a word.
Colleague, completely unrelated to this,
Yes.
on the bottom of that, south of the, so it'd be south of the fields, there's a bunch of little red boxes. Do
Yes,
you know what that is?
yes.
No, not those. Yep, those.
Right here.
Yes,
Just curious.
solar panels? No, I have no idea.
Oh!
Luke, that's resident, supposed to be residential, right?
It just add that to your list to clarify for me. I just wanted, because I'm concerned, because that's not what I had understood was going, it looks like they're putting apartments there.
I didn't think so.
I didn't.
Based on the
either.
fact that the
Right.
townhomes have a different symbol in there, so just me asking. Just to clarify what that is. I know that's before, that's a farther down the road thing, so.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it looks like townhomes.
Yeah, I know, they're all over up there.
Yeah.
For that one.
That's why I'm a little concerned about it, so.
And there has been some talk too, David, on that southern side, when we met with all the engineers last week, of shifting that southern layout a little bit more, where it's not such a huge parking lot, kind of wrapping some things around, so it's.
Parking lot doesn't bother me. It's
Yeah.
the piece from the road south to those other people. We've had this lot of residences back there, and that's
Yeah.
maybe my concern. That's why I asked that question. Just
Yeah.
find out what those are, because the developer may want to fix that before it comes to us.
Yeah, I will. They're going through the PUD process right now, so a lot of that will get etched out, but I'll make sure we find out what that means.
Thank you. Like I said, it's completely unrelated. so.
That's kind of like-
What else? Anything else?
Echo Ed, thank you for persevering.
So I'd like to get a motion to approve the initial terms as presented.
Motion.
Second.
All right, motion by Livingston, second by Reba. All those in favor, aye. All those opposed, same. All right, motion carries. Good deal. All right, item 7, council inquiries and staff updates. Jim. Nope. David.
We got an email about it, but I just want to remind everybody that Toby Laurie won the Aaron Eilert's Community Service Award. And he just graduated from high school. He's up at Iowa Central, but he's getting the award Sunday night. Is that correct? Is that
Yes, he's
still
getting
plan?
the character.
Yeah, it's Character Cal Aaron Eilert's.
2021.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's the same thing, yeah.
okay.
On Sunday night at Music Fest at 6.
Cool.
6:30,
I
6:30.
6:30.
I've also heard 7:30, so I don't.
So
know.
between 6 and 8, go to Music.
Might have
Fest,
to stick around.
And talk to him and congratulate him on that. He's done a lot of work in town and around town. It wasn't just a one-time thing.
I have a proclamation. Nope, that's all right. Jack.
Nothing.
Ed.
No, sir.
All right. Cap forward.
Last Saturday, we sent 2 of our personnels to a mass casualty incident drill that was at the airport. So that's kind of a neat opportunity for them to go and see multiple agencies together and how they would work if they ever had a major incident there. So able to kind of bring some tactics and stuff back to the department, put those in place in case we had something here or had to respond in that event. If any of you have seen recently on our Facebook page, we did have a couple resignations. I wanted to make sure council knew that that was through natural attrition. Those people came on here as volunteers and it's time for them to kind of move on. We have one more that I got a verbal from that's going to be going as well, but we've hired 4 additional part-time staff. So our staffing needs are still being met. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Chief Staples.
Just reminder that Music Fest is Sunday, and warm your arms up and bring money, because the mayor, myself, and Jen will be in the dunk tank.
I saw that.
Yeah, time to go swimming if you can throw. I don't know.
Bring our own
What time are you in?
2:30.
2:30? What time are you in?
I think 12:30.
12:30. I'm at 1:30, so
Yeah.
Rumor has it I'm at 5:30.
you're in at 5:30?
God, I may have to stay a while.
Well, now I'm gonna have to stay longer.
Yeah, me too. And it's 3 balls for $5, right?
I have no idea.
Something like that. So,
That's all I got.
all right, thank you. Gene Kelly.
Just continue to work on closing out our last fiscal year and gearing up for the one that's after their current year. So getting ready for budgets out, CIP forms. We're always working 3 years, so.
Yep.
That's all I have.
All right, thanks. Holly.
In addition to this, met with the hotel developers a couple days ago for North Shore. And they are also squeaking into the finish line here. And I think they're on their last bureau within the DOT for those approvals. So once that's done, and then we will be able to get kind of finalized estimates to Gene, so we can finalize their draft development agreement terms to you, just like tonight. So
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Gene Bosch.
I have a few things. September is National Library Card Sign-Up Month. So if you do not have a library card yet, please stop in or go online and get signed up for one. We have a new library card design that features our logo. And if you have a current card, you can update to the fancy new card should you choose to do that. Also, with autumn coming, we have started up our program, switching out from the summer to the fall offerings, and we have quite a lot going on. It's on the yellow sheet that I passed out, and there's programs for all ages. Some are in person, some are indoors, some are outdoors, some are hybrid, some are Zoom only. So there's a little bit of something for everybody: history, things for kids, a coffee and chat, just a little smorgasbord of things, and more to come. We also started a practicum student from the University of Nebraska in Omaha. She is Kylie Hervey, and she will probably join me for one of our future meetings. So we're excited to have her coming on for this semester, or part of the semester. She's actually expecting a baby on November 15th. So she'll be here for a little while. And the final thing is that we just finished putting up a poster panel exhibit at the library. It's 14 poster panels commemorating the anniversary of 9/11. It's very well done and sponsored by the 9/11 Memorial Museum, as well as the National Endowment for the Humanities. So please come in and take a look at it. And we also have books to check out on 9/11 as well. And normally we don't save things as an archive, but for some reason, so many odd years ago, a librarian chose to save the Newsweek and Time and US News and World Report issues from 9/11. So it will be in a handle with care situation, but it's just kind of something special to go back in time. So come in and take a look at that. That will be in the library through the month of September.
Hey, if somebody lost their library card, what's the procedure of getting a new one? I'm just asking for a friend.
Just, you can tell your friend that they just need to bring their photo ID to the library. We'll get them hooked up with a new card.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, it is cool.
Just one form of ID?
Just one, depending on the friend. Yeah.
Things have improved. When I moved here, I went and they told me I needed 2 forms of ID. I only had one.
Oh.
Well, that was
I had to
because
beg them to give me a library card.
Questionable individual.
I know.
Yeah, need to be trustworthy.
Robin.
The ribbon cutting was well attended for Great Western Trail Phase 1. So thank you for all that attended. There's for those that didn't and want to see it, we did do a Facebook Live, And there's lots of pictures out there on Instagram and other things. So thank you for attending. Phase 2, we will have a pre-construction meeting on September 14th, and they want to start construction the following week. So we're
Hey.
already in the process of going forward on that. There is a bridge on that one. We did find out that the bridge manufacturer is the same as we had for phase 1, so it will be the same bridge.
Wonderful.
So that will be nice. And we're just waiting on when we don't have a date on when we will get delivery of that. So hopefully that won't hold us up too long on that project, but it should be done, cross our fingers, before winter. So that would be nice. So we have had a leak at the pool. Now that we are shut down, we have spent the past week and a half park staff manually breaking up concrete and digging holes. And then yesterday, Public Works was able to come up and break out a larger portion. We had it narrowed down, and Public Works was actually able to come out and break out a larger portion on the pool deck. And we did find the leak, and Gary is already in the process of fixing that. Parts cost us about $146. So
Did you get permission for that?
right. Thankfully, this was, I will call it an easy fix. I'm not really sure if it really was easy, but we found it quickly, and it will be fixed quickly and will not cost us tens of thousands of dollars.
Do you have to replace the concrete? Do
What?
you have to replace the concrete?
We will have to replace the concrete. Public Works is going to work with us on that as well. So, yeah. Let's see, we do have an opening for Park and Recreation Commission. We had someone move out of the city, took a job somewhere else. And so this was their last meeting. And so we are in search of a new commission member. So if anybody knows anybody who's interested in Park and Recreation Commission, please send them my way. We have an Adoptive Flowerbed program that we started earlier this summer. We did have one group of volunteers take us up on the gazebo over by the library. And they have done a wonderful job kind of thinning out and replanting some flowers around the gazebo. They also received a paint grant through Keep Iowa Beautiful. And they have had some volunteers who have painted a koi pond in the bottom of that gazebo. And they finished up today, and it looks really, really cool. So if you're ever over by the library, and take a walk over there and look.
All right.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Can I
Lindsay?
ask one question
Oh,
on
go ahead.
the Great Western Trail piece?
Yes,
Are we gonna be adding any stop signs
yes,
to the trail? Okay, thank you.
yes, we will. So.
I'm assuming we were, but I just wanted to ask.
Yes.
Lindsay?
I have nothing, thank you.
Stephanie?
Nothing but the fireworks work session. Can we make a note to specifically talk about special permits, especially residential permits, so that we can, as a group, at the same time, talk about timing, who gets it, who doesn't get it, all of the stuff that we're gonna.
Notifications, that kind of stuff. Brian? Nothing? Luke?
I do have a few things. It was fun to be at the ribbon cutting for the new bike trail, which is exciting to hear the updates. But even more exciting is to hear about sewer mains going in the community. Two of them that we're still working on. V&K, Tony's making good progress on the easements for the North River Interceptor. So it's neat to see that continuing to move. That's a huge step to overcome. And Luke Paris has been working with, I think it's NRCS. Robin, I don't know if you were part of those meetings, on trying to get the easement through our land that is the conservation easement. So the good news is we can do it. It's just a matter of a few hoops that we need to jump through to get there. So that's good news. And then the Legacy Lift Station, I believe Lindsay, did that go out for bid, or when are those due?
Legacy lift station?
Yeah.
I think
that
that's
one.
next.
For the Northwest Trunk Sewer?
No, yes.
That, the bid is next week, I believe, on the 9th.
So that's exciting, that will be another huge step for our community. I was just talking to some residents about it this morning, that I'm not sure if everybody really fully is aware that that is the main sewer line that opens up the whole center of Norwalk that hasn't developed because it hasn't had sanitary sewer. And we eliminate a lift station, so that's
It's a big
exciting.
deal.
Yes. The other thing, wanted to update you, we had our first Wescom Managers Committee meeting. Previously, it was primarily the chiefs that would get together, and they were the main management arm. You may recall that we approved a 2080, revised 2080 agreement that kind of restructured Wescom, pulling away a little bit from West Des Moines. And you'll see all of us that sit on that Wescom Management Committee meeting. They were very organized. I was impressed with how Chief Riney handled the meeting. And of course, Matt McQuillan has been involved for a long time, and he does a great job. Gene will be my backup. That was one of the things we talked about, having a backup. We talked about maybe having elected officials, but we said this is overall city managers, so we all felt it was better to have a staff person. And Chief Staples made a good point that so many of those decisions are financial related, so it made sense to have Gene's backup.
Never leave a meeting early.
That's right. You left that department head meeting, and that's when we decided.
Yeah.
The last thing to bring up, and Mayor, maybe you were going to bring this up also, the multifamily tours. Lindsay and I were working with Hubble on one of their projects that we wanted to do a tour. You may recall they had contacted me, Chris Sodoris,
Yes.
I believe. She had made contact with me because they were going to put in a special application to get some funding for an apartment project in Holland Point. It was short notice. There was the term LMI included in there, which can get some folks a little bit concerned. Ultimately, the timing wasn't right, but we thought maybe as opposed to doing it in a rush way, we would take a deep breath and go do a couple tours so that council could see some of these facilities. So Lindsay set it up that her and I were going to go first, do this tour, but then it came up, maybe it'd be a good idea just to simply invite the elected officials to go along. The date of that is September 13th. And what we could do is just send you an invite that we have, or just add them to the invite that you sent me. And I believe there's four townhome communities that we're going to. We'll just send that out. If you can go along, great. Of course, this would be something if we end up with a quorum, it's just simply a tour. It's not something we're going to be looking for any kind of discussion.
Day or afternoon or?
I believe it's during the day.
I believe we're meeting at 10:30 that morning. So we'd leave City Hall about 10 o'clock.
Okay, yeah. It'd be-
And we're going outside Norwalk, we're just not gonna tour the stuff they have. in
Correct, yeah, this is in other communities. But they would be similar projects to what they would be looking to do at some point in time in the future in Norwalk, or just to give us some other ideas of multifamily type housing.
I guess, is it going to be, do you know, appreciably different than Cedar Ridge?
Lindsay's nodding her head, yes. She's been in charge of setting these up.
They look quite different.
That's all I have.
All right. So you got the housing tour taken care of. Chief Staples got the music fest dunk tank thing taken care of. Thank you. The only other thing I had on my list was community chat is on September the 11th, 9 o'clock in here. So I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Second by Livingston. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those same. We're adjourned.
All right.
3 p.m. That's early.
Please tell them.
Yes.